Hey traders, Raghi here. These are 3 OpX setups for this Friday. So number 1, what is OpX or Options Expiration? The third Friday of each month is the big options expiration. We say big because there's typically the most open interest weighting in the strikes of the third Friday of the month. The other thing that we want to remember about options expiration is the high open interest levels tend to have a gravitational pull. They're kind of like a tractor beam. They tend to pull prices to it because the main idea, specifically of this Friday, which opens up a great window for opportunity, is the fact that we have a high probability. I'm not predicting, no one knows what's going to happen, right? I mean, if you're watching these videos here, you know analysis is about probability, not prediction. And so when I think about Friday, I know there's a very high likelihood that certain stocks and ETFs can move to certain strikes because of the open interest. I'm going to walk you through 3 setups that I'm looking at for OpX this Friday. Number 1 is Hood. Now, before we get into an individual stock, every one of these stocks is already on my Sector Secrets Mastery watch list. So on Monday, I take a look at the different sectors. We find the high probability follow through in the relative outperforming stocks. What does that mean? I'm looking for strong sectors and strong stocks within them. So they're performing better relative to other stocks in that group. And those sectors are performing relatively, better relative to other sectors out in the universe of stocks. So again, we want the best of the best, right? I feel like Kelly McGillis in Top Gun. I want the best of the best. So ultimately, when I get Hood, this is an outperformer in the Innovator 50 IBD list known as the FFTY. So Hood, Palantir, Oracle, these are popular names that are outperformers in that group. All right, then I'm going to go take a look at the open interest because what I want is a pullback, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm looking for. So first of all, why is this stock even on the list? It's got a trend. Why is this stock potentially a great setup? There's my daily price movement range, and that's a volatility-based support level. And then the question is, can price move down to that level and allow me to buy a call? Because that's really what I'm after. If I look at the August 15 option chain, what I can see is there are 16,000, right today as I'm recording this video, it's the 12th of August, it's about 10 minutes before 3. And there's 16,900 open interest at the 110 strike. So let's imagine what happens with Friday. If price can gravitate to a level, in this case down to a strike like the 110 call, where if we're at or even near that level, those options at 110 and all the strikes above it are going to be basically worthless. Let me show you. So this is Robinhood's option chain. You can see where we're trading right now. And you can see where we have the top. So this 114 lines up right here. Yeah. You can see that there's a huge amount of open interest at 110. And there's a huge amount of open interest at 115 and 116. All right. So I'm going to show you how to read this. This level is not only support. Think of this as the tractor beam. If price can get sucked down to 110, all of these options would basically be close to worthless. In addition, every one of these strikes above it would also be looking at very low value options. And if you're a writer, if you're a seller of premium, the idea is you're selling it because you expect that option will be worth less than when you sold it. So as we get closer and closer to Friday, and if we're out of the money, all of these are going to continue to lose value. And the big win would be getting to these 16, almost 17,000 open interest here. So this is where understanding support and resistance would kick in. This would be an interesting level of support, while these two really, would be a powerful level of resistance. So come Friday, it's only Tuesday, but come Friday, I would not expect, unless there's news overriding this, it'd have to be pretty big news, I would not expect Robinhood to get above 115 to 116, and I would have a high expectation of getting close to, maybe to, 110. All right, now that I know the process, and this is how you read the options going into that third Friday of the month, would 110 or even getting close to 110 be useful? Absolutely, because there's a very good probability that my daily price movement ranges, the setup for the trade, are going to coincide with the support of that OpX expiration. All right, so now that you got an idea for the field, let's go through a couple others. NVIDIA. So same idea. This stock has to be on a list where I like it even aside from OpX. And this list comes from the XLK, NVIDIA, Microsoft, AVGO. These are on the list of outperformers within the technology ETF. So now what do I want? I want this to come down to this area. Well, what's the likelihood that we end up somewhere between 177 and 174? Well, let's go take a look. Again, specific only to the third Friday of the month. Now, come next week, I won't be doing this type of analysis. I'll go back to the Darvis, the daily price movement range, and mean reversions at the wave. But this is unique. Third Friday of the months are great times to set up trades that can take us into September if you have a swing trading type approach of days, if not weeks, to expiration. I'm not going to buy the August 15s, obviously. Most likely I'll go out to the September 19 for these swing trades. So look at the size here. Now, obviously, staying below 185 is going to make a lot of sense. You can see we're at 183 essentially right now. 125,000 open interest, 85, 102. Very, very unlikely that NVIDIA surges through these levels, come Friday. They could test them. Anything could happen tomorrow and Thursday, but very unlikely. 180, being at 183 right now, I would say is a pretty easy gravitational pull. And then if we can get down to 175, might even say, what about 170, Raghi? Look, this is not about predicting we're going to 170 or 175. This is about saying that we could get down there. And if we do, does the 175, I don't even need it to get to 170. Does the 175 call have enough gravitational pull to suck NVIDIA down, to suck it right down into this vortex of the daily price movement range? 180 could be a level to watch. And if prices don't get below 180 on Friday, we know why. But 175 would be exactly what I'm looking for to set up NVIDIA in the daily price movement range. Again, just imagine just sucking it right down. Right? You see those, what do they call those? Those little whirlpools in the ocean. I don't know why people get close to them, because what happens? Whoosh, they get sucked in. That's what I want, okay? I want price to get sucked into that level. And of course, we're within the context of a trend. A lot of talk about gold right now. Do we like gold? I like gold miners better than gold. Gold has been all over the place, and we've seen when U.S.-Russia news and a certain unwind of some of the fear trade happens, gold can get very volatile. But what's holding really steady? Gold miners. So what I would love to see is GDX. This is the ETF of the gold miners where Newmont Mining, Barrick Gold, Agnico all exist. I like the trend here. Take a peek. It's a really nice trend. Consistency of the green top tier candles, right? And now what I'm asking is this likely to keep moving higher? Yeah. A trend would mean we're likely to keep moving higher. But what's the probability of heading down into this area between 56 and change and 55 and change? Well, we take a look at, you guessed it, we're going to go right back to our Friday setup. Again, these are OpX setups. And by the way, if you want to join me for OpX Friday, you still have plenty of time. Right now, if you go to sectorsecrets.com, you can get a $7 trial. Come check out what we're doing. And then on Friday, you can be with me live when I'm setting all these up for the group in the Sector Secrets Mastery. So really easy way to see me put this process to work in the live market and send out alerts based on it. So take a look at GDX, August 15. Where is the size? You can see here, very unlikely we're going to stay above 58, right? Very unlikely that we're going to stay above even 60. So that's resistance. But what about support? Well, that's what I'm interested in. So this area here at 56 or even 55, look at the open interest in that area. Not too shabby. So if we can make a move just 2 points down to about 56, that's where the overlap is going to happen. And that's what I'll be waiting for. So I know based on the open interest where the ceiling is, right? Very unlikely that we continue up through 58 or 59 or even 60, right? Look at the open interest, 11,000, 8,000, 25,000. So consider that resistance. And now look at support, 56 to 55, and that aligns perfectly with a buy the dip. All right, we're on a really good roll here. Let me give you one bonus. Here is VRT. So let's do this backwards. Let's start with the open interest. So come August 15, look at where VRT is right now. That's going to put us right here in this column. Well, there's not a lot of open interest here, is there? Or here, or here, or here. Is VRT likely to stay below 145? I would say very likely. Look at the size at the 140s. You think if they could drive this down just 3, not even a full 3 points, it doesn't have to go through 140, even just close to 140 would reduce the value of these options. So is there a really good chance we're going to get some gravitational pull to 140? Absolutely. And I haven't even looked at the chart yet, right? So let's go onto the chart of VRT now that we know and see what that, if anything, could provide as far as an entry. All right, so 140 would be kind of neat. I'd like to see it maybe a little bit lower, but this would actually be the lower quarter of the Darvas zone. In fact, we'd have to hit basically 140 to do it. So you can see if we get down into this area, this would be the lower quarter of the Darvas entry. Now, this is not a trending setup, but the consistency of the green candles make it a pretty cool one to watch. And VRT has been a mover. It's one that's got a lot of attention, and attention typically is bullish in this environment. So keep an eye on that one. That's exactly what we'll be doing to OpEx. That's how I set it up. And on Friday, I'll be doing this live with the group. So come check out what we're doing. $7 trial, 30 days, sectorsecrets.com. All right. If you have any questions, leave them below. Thanks for smashing the like button, and I'll see you in the next update.